All right, things looked good and sounded good. Yeah, it wasn't a pipe dream. You did play the legato at the 205, so that was good. So what I did is I combined the last week's picking thing along with the previous week's. So it's about the same length of material. So we're just not doubling everything up before moving on to the next thing. So like before we would do this. Well, now we're just going to do it once. So basically the same idea that we have been doing. So we're going to work our way up that pattern and then move it up an octave. Move it up an octave. And then descend. Move it down an octave. Move that down an octave. And end with the chord there. So I got the tempo set at 160. Yeah, whenever you feel good at the 160, go ahead and send a video. And let's make sure everything sounds okay. Here we go. Just with the metronome for me. You go ahead, keep using Guitar Pro. I think it's helping out a lot. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Legato. So, thought would be a good idea is keep the exact same notes, but instead of doing it in a 3/4 time signature, we're gonna go back to the 4/4, which just means you got one extra hammer on and pull off per bar. So last time you had like the 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. Now we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So just a little bit more difficult. I have this set at 180. So just like the other thing. Once you're feeling pretty good at 180, go ahead and send a video over to make sure everything's going okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That. All right, so theory. Let's see your file here. So yeah, that's let me change over to this. That's correct. So if you're like me and you don't want a bunch of extra junk at the top here, when you go to click on, I need to actually add a different window display. Hold on. Or not window display, where did I put it? Display capture, there we go, and capture the right. Okay, yeah, when you hit A, if you don't want a bunch of stuff up here, turn off display diagrams. This way, yeah, I just don't have all that distracting stuff. I know I can't stand it. I only want to see what's necessary. But anyway, so the only real correction to make is here. There is no 8th interval. A is the first interval, so every instance of A is the 1. Every single instance of an A, when A is the 1, is still the 1. Doesn't matter what octave it is. If A is the root note, if that's the 1, that's the first interval, it's the first interval forever. Doesn't matter if it's here, 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 here. That's the 1, the 1, the 1, the 1. Every single A, when A is the root note, will always be the 1. We're not going to go 1, then 8, then 20, and then, 32. That's silly. That's way too many numbers. way too confusing. So yeah, it's just 1 through 7, and that's it. You go, when you start to repeat those things at a higher octave, it just goes back to the 1 for the root note. Eventually we will get into bigger chords that involve 9, 11, and 13. But for the modes, we will not deal with 9s, 11s, and 13s. So for the modes, it's always 1 through 7, and that's it. The modes is 1 through 7, and that's it, no higher. So just make that change there. Get rid of the 8, put it as a 1. And then I want you to label the mode name in here. And we bring this display up again. Now, I'm not sure what it's going to be for the Mac, but you can find what I'm talking about. There's like a little direction box you can put here. There it is. It brings that thing up. So what I like to do is put in the mode name like this. So the root note of the mode and then the mode name. So again, just let your mouse hover over that. It'll tell you what to do. So for me, it's Shift plus Insert. I'm sure that'll be different for you. But yeah, whatever it is, get that on. You'll see that pop up. Go to where the name is, and then type in your your Aeolian. This way you got the mode names in there. So I want you to do that, and then actually let's go ahead and save it like this. Let me just go ahead and change this now. I'm thinking about it. We got should be the same amount of bars here. So we'll do this. Let's have you change. Let's go in this order. Let's go. I'll mix it up a little bit. Let's have you change this to a Ionian. Oops, what am I doing? And then we'll go change this to a Phrygian. Kind of just jumping around here. Then we'll change it to a Lydian. And then let's go. Make sure I'm going to do this right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hang on. Alien, Ionian. We haven't done Dorian yet. Let's do Dorian. Then we'll do Locrian next. And then we'll finish with Mixolydian. How about that? So yeah, it's kind of random there. What you're going to do is just copy and paste into the next thing. Now, let's see. If I go to Edit, Special Paste. So that's what you want, Special Paste. So for me, it's Control Shift and the letter V. So I do that, brings up this box. So you want to have the at least the chord diagram thing turned on, because that's what the interval numbers are put in. But I usually just have the chords and the text turned on. So this way it copies like that. And then what you got to do is change the intervals that are needed in order to make the new mode. So actually, let me change the key here as well. So A, Ionian, is in the key of A major. That's a pretty easy one because your A major scale is your Ionian mode, and the major scale produces the notes for the major key. So A Phrygian, basically you got to think about, okay, well, what major scale has A as the third note? So you can kind of work your way backwards in a major scale. kind of think of it this way. So like you got your C major scale that you learned, that shape there, and you're really just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root note again for the full shape. So kind of visualizing that shape right there. Now, you basically got to think, kind of plug that shape in there. So that's the third note in the C major shape, right? So basically got to work your way down. Let's start on the A note, which gets you to F. So A Phrygian is in the key of F. And then A Lydian. A is the fourth note in. So what I'm going to do here is start on this note and then go down that major scale. So I go, again, I'm visualizing that one shape. That lands on an E. So A Lydian is in the key of E major. A Dorian. Dorian is the second mode. That's right, Lydian is the fourth mode that happens in key. So that's why we went down 4 in the major scale shape. Dorian, A Dorian. Dorian is the second mode that happens in your major keys. So we just go down a whole step. We got your G. A Dorian is in the key of G major. Locrian. Well, Locrian is the 7th mode in. So instead of going through the whole scale, what I'm going to do is start here and go up a half step, because that brings us right back to the root note of the major key. So, because you could go up like this to find that 7th note there. But that's extra work. So, basically, Locrian is the 7th mode that happens in key. So to find out what the root note is for the, we'll say the parent key, the parent scale, you just go up a half step. So the key of B flat contains A Locrian. The key of B flat contains A Locrian. I would realize if that one seemed extra confusing, I'm not surprised. Trying to explain it like that, it's like, yeah, this might be coming across as weird. Well, it'll make more sense as we keep working on it. All right, A Mixolydian. Mixolydian is the 5th mode. So I'm going to start here, and I'm visualizing that mode, or the major scale shape. You can also just make a power chord. Go down like that. So D, key of D, contains A Mixolydian. All right. So now that all that is set up, when you go to enter all your notes and change things to the proper mode and all that, when you go to change stuff, if you do it correctly, you won't see any of these, like here, those are natural symbols. So the natural symbols are going to go away. There won't be any sharp or flat signs up here in the standard notation once you make the proper corrections to make the new mode. So I'll go ahead and leave this here so you can just start making the changes here. So you have to change the fret numbers and the interval numbers to make it match the proper mode. All right. Any questions come up, let me know. And I will see you again next week.